So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. 20 ways that Samsung is better than Apple. And so let's begin with the first one, and that's why I have the fold up front here for this first reason, and that is the design risks that Samsung is willing to take here. You can just see it right here in the Samsung Galaxy Fold. First to the market with something like this, well, at least to the mainstream consumer who can see this in a public store, for example, your local electronics store. You can go to Best Buy and play with these things today. Whereas Apple is pretty much sticking to their roots here, all the way back to say, the original iPhone. I mean, yeah, they stretched the screen. They do have more of an all-screen display, and there's a lot of innovation that's happened on the feature set, but it's still a smartphone. It's just a bigger version of what they've already had. So I do think that Samsung is more of a bold risk taker here in 2020 over Apple. Okay, so the next reason Samsung is better than Apple here in 2020 is that it has a pro camera built right into the software itself. We don't have to download or pay third-party applications to have some great professional features, like the ability to adjust your autofocus and see some focus peaking right there on your camera itself. You can also change different things like saturation, highlights, all kinds of stuff. So you have more of a pro grade setup here in terms of manual control. Number 3 is split screen multitasking. Now this Note 10 here is actually a smaller phone than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but this Note 10 can do something the 11 Pro Max cannot do, and it really frustrates me when I'm using the 11 Pro Max that I don't have the ability to split my applications. This is a smaller panel right here, and I can do this. You can also do pop view for Samsung, which allows you to pop applications all over the screen, kind of like little windows. But over here on iPhone, it's just one app at a time, and yeah, that does have a very minimal feel, but sometimes you just want that split screen at some times in the day. So for number 4 is the inbuilt calculator. It's just annoying on the iPhone that I do not have a history. So if I do 56 here on both plus 66 and I hit equals here, I minus 3, I got 119. If I minus 3 here, now where's my history? I can go back like this when I'm doing a calculation, but if you go here for Samsung, I can see the whole history on the calculator. Now I know this is a very easy fix, Nick. Just go to the App Store, stop messing around, and get yourself a third-party calculator with history. That's true, but a lot of them have ads, and sometimes I want my stock calculator app from Apple themselves to have history. So the next one is navigation. So this is the Galaxy A51 right here. If we go to navigation bar settings, you're gonna see in this phone right here, this has Android 10. We have different ways to navigate the phone. We can use the Google way. We can also go to more options here, and we can go into the old Samsung way of doing it. So there's 3 different ways to operate the Samsung Galaxy A51, or you can just use the typical navigation buttons, move them around, versus one way to do it on the iPhone. Again, if you're going for simplicity, that's still very easy on the iPhone, but just giving you multiple ways, whichever suits your needs best, you can try them out. That's definitely a win for me on the Samsung device. Reason is lighter designs with bigger screens. So this A51 actually has a similar size display as the 11 Pro Max, as you can see right there, but it's far lighter. Now it's far less powerful, but that's not only the A51 that's light and huge. The Galaxy S10 Plus is actually a large phone that's much lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So if you guys are looking for a light design, but still giving you a very large display, Samsung has got Apple beat every time. The next reason I think Samsung is better than Apple in 2020 is things like the S Pen, for example. Just their focus on productivity, I think, is a little bit higher than Apple's focus here. Now, Apple does focus on productivity. I think in the iPad line, they're trying to improve that. Also, you have, things like decks from your phone. In addition to that, you have folding phones like the Galaxy Fold that can allow you to split 3 applications at once. You can put one on the side, you can put one up here, one over here. I mean, it's just stuff like this that shows you Samsung is really trying to help you make your life easier with productivity. And we already talked about split screen and stuff like that. So here's another example. I'm in the calendar. If I just go to the S Pen right here, I scroll down, I can actually write on this calendar. Now, it's just little stuff like this. Like say we got a birthday party on April 8th. Birthday party. It's just little stuff like this I can just save, and it just makes me more productive on my device. So if you're looking for something that's kind of like your work phone, I do think Samsung has more features that are useful for work, for example. Number 8 is the robust theming options. You don't really find these on the iPhone. You don't find a lot of theming. There is some applications in the App Store that can kind of theme out your wallpaper. Maybe you make the icons look a little bit different, but it's not a true theme. It's kind of like just a wallpaper changing it. You could jailbreak certain versions of iOS, but if we go here in Samsung, they have their whole Galaxy theme store. And I do realize some of these are paid, and I don't think many people are going to pay for a theme, but at the same time, it just gives you the option to change your phone up when you start getting bored of it. Number 9, Samsung better caters to different market segments. We have the ultra premium and the bold, daring Galaxy Fold that most people aren't going to buy, but there is a niche market that has a lot of interest in this device. You have the standard Note 10, which is more the mainstream flagship phone for a lot of people. Then you have the Galaxy A50 series, the A51, more of a budget segment. So Samsung pays attention to everyone, and it just gives you this feeling that no matter what, you're going to have a phone that's modern, that can meet your price point and meet your needs. Whereas iPhone, I still see a lot of people saying, I'm saving up for that device. I'm just not going to buy it right now until it comes down. And then you could buy their older options, but their older options to me aren't as nice as the budget modern Android options in some cases. So, but really that iPhone SE2, the iPhone 9 everybody's talking about each and every day, that phone right there is going to be huge for Apple this year. They need to really address especially this budget segment. The reason Samsung is better than Apple is landscape rotation. Now you might be saying, but you're doing that right there on the iPhone. Well, this is the iPhone 8 Plus. The 8 Plus is not going to be around much longer. And then I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to see landscape rotation come back? I mean, that's just something I've really missed, especially on a $1,200 iPhone that cannot even flip into landscape mode. It really drives me nuts sometimes that I don't have that option to do that on my $1,200 iPhone 11 Pro Max, for example. I do think Samsung phones just have a better video watching experience due to some features like being able to knock the display up into a high vivid mode. In addition to that, you do have a video enhancer mode on this guy, which you turn this on, it will boost the contrast and saturation when you head into YouTube and watch some of your favorite videos. So this is just a better phone for watching YouTube videos, I think, than the iPhone with the big notch that kind of gets in the way sometimes. So if you guys are looking for, you know, a really good media experience with these stretch screens, almost no bezels here on the side, Samsung for me is the better pick for just consuming media. There's a lot of ways iPhone is still better than Samsung, but when it comes to consuming media, I think Samsung phones are still where it's at. And if you want to talk about probably the best Samsung for media consumption, especially on a phone, it's got to be the Galaxy Fold.
The dual SIM card slots right there. On the right, I do see the volume rocker, Bixby key, as well as power key right there. It doubles as that. The top, just a microphone hole, and you can see.
Next way that Samsung beats Apple in 2020 for number 12 is storage. So with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, for example, your storage is 256 gigs. We're not messing around with that 64 gig stuff like you see on the iPhone. Now, something like the A51, this phone also launched with more storage than the iPhone, 128 gigs, and I can expand this memory on here to a terabyte. So storage all day, every day, it's a better value on Samsung. I do think the Face ID is a little bit better of an experience in terms of security than the Samsung with its 2D face rec. But you can see that 2D facial recognition on the Galaxy Note 10 is easier. So we also have this in-display fingerprint sensor. And while this isn't always 100% accurate, it is pretty good. And if you have it face down on a desk or something, you can still go ahead and unlock the phone just with your finger. It's just not something you're going to be able to do with the iPhone because it doesn't have that in-display fingerprint sensor. That should be coming soon with in-display Touch ID, but as of right now, Samsung is still where it's at when it comes to ease of use when unlocking your phone. Next one is reverse wireless charging. So I can actually charge my iPhone 11 Pro Max on my Samsung device. So let me just place it right there. You can see the charge icon did come on. Let me go ahead and zoom in just a bit here. You can see the charge icon is on. So the 11 Pro Max is definitely charging right now. And this is one of the rare situations where the Samsung and the Apple are playing nice together. Well, that's because Samsung's like, here you go, bud. Go ahead and take some of my battery for your battery. All right, guys. So when it comes to mobile data, 4G LTE, things like that, I find that the iPhone is just not as strong in this respect. Now the Wi-Fi, it's just as strong on both, but when it comes to connection reliability, I find that the Samsung is still better than Apple in 2020. So if you're looking for, more bleeding edge connectivity, I think Samsung is where it's at, because Samsung is offering up 5G phones, whereas Apple might be doing this later this year, but you're already able to get 5G phones now on the Samsung platform. 16, just better phone call quality. There's nothing really else to say. I've just had a better experience with reception, things like that. When it comes to talking to people on the other line saying they can't hear me, I've had that issue more on my iPhone. For example, I've had people say, "Hey, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? I can't hear you." And I've also had times where people say, "You're breaking up." And it's always been on my Apple device. Every time I'm on this phone, it's just better. Number 17 is true access to NFC. So when I'm talking about true access, I mean you can make mobile payments, of course, with the Apple iPhone, but you can use NFC tags and pretty much any NFC technology you want to use. It's available on the Samsung device. So do not worry about that whatsoever if you go with Samsung. Next up is Samsung Pay. Now, why do I say Samsung Pay? Well, because Samsung Pay not only allows you to have MST technology, allowing you to basically scan anywhere, regardless if the place supports it. I will say Apple has been catching up here. They definitely have a lot more terminals that support Apple Pay now in the public, but you're still not getting rewards for using that like you are on Samsung Pay. So for me, Samsung Pay is still a winner over Apple Pay, even though many more people are starting to catch on to Apple Pay. If you want a better payment solution for your phone, Samsung Pay is where it's at, mostly now due to the rewards and cash back, stuff like that. So little advanced features and just little things that you wouldn't even think about just enhance the overall Samsung experience to make it a little bit more enjoyable to use than Apple. For example, this has been on Samsung phones forever, but you can swipe left to message somebody when you are in your recents on phone calls. Also, you can just swipe right to make a phone call. That's extremely useful. So one of my favorites is palm swipe to capture. So just take your hand and it'll take a screenshot just like this. They also have the scroll shot feature, which Apple kind of stole for iOS 13. And other neat things like the one-handed mode, which I know you have on the iPhone, it's reachability, but you can also change the size here and move it to different sides for the Samsung and use the entire phone in this mode until you're done. So just more usable in my opinion. So advanced features is just another reason why Samsung is better than Apple in 2020. The last one is robust user control. Now, what do I mean by this? The ability to get into the phone with developer options. Now, this is an Android thing, but you are able to really dig down and change the scaling of your phone. For example, let's go down here and go into the DPI scaling, minimum width, and let's make this say 650. Now watch what happens to this phone. Now things look a little bit weird, like the text is extremely small, but if you do go into say the browser, you'll be able to split these tabs a little bit more. You'll be able to see more content on screen. I know it's not super usable all the time, but in that rare situation, when you need to make your phone operate more like a tablet, you can do this here for Samsung. It's just not something you're going to be able to do quite as easily for the iPhone device, if you can at all do that. That's it. That's why Samsung is better than Apple in 2020. That's 20 reasons actually why. And there's more, but I didn't want to make this video too long, so I didn't go on any further. And it might seem like I'm hating on Apple or something just because I did a cons video and now I'm saying reasons why Samsung's better. It's just I've been thinking about reasons why Samsung is better just because the S20 is the next upcoming flagship. But if you guys want to see reasons why Apple is better than Samsung this year, let me know down below. And my question to you is, do you think that Samsung is the better phone to pick in 2020? And tell me why. Why would you pick Samsung if you did in 2020? If you don't believe so, also let us know why down below. If you guys found this video entertaining, informing, enjoying, do me a favor, click that like button for me. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well and peace.